What up? What up? It's your boy RVA from VA, Richmond to be exact. And today we are talking about
Yes, sir.
what's going on, man?
What's good? What's good?
Hey, we had some technical difficulties over here, man. As soon as I pushed the live button, the whole thing just went down, man. With a bang. What's going on with you, family?
What's good? What's good?
Nothing much, man. So, I wanted to bring you on here today. We know today they're doing the fan appreciation. What time is that supposed to start?
Technically, like 6ish. Like when
Okay,
it, but they open the doors like right now. I think they said it like 2, something like that, and start 6ish, goes all the way to like 9.
okay, because it's been real quiet over there. I was wondering what was going on with that whole situation.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I ain't gonna hold you up, man. Like I said, this is my first live stream, and of course, I had to bring my man Rico Street Scores on here. This guy, I mean, most of you, if you are watching, you know who this guy is. He's one of the original OGs of this thing, and he definitely influenced me, coming up with the whole idea of Command Respect TV. So I just want to give you a salute, a shout out. And like I said, I really appreciate you coming on the channel, man.
I appreciate you having me, man. I'm ready, man. I just love talking football. We got some Commander stuff going on. Can't wait to see what the practice looks like. Rivera said they're supposed to be hitting, so I'm excited.
Oh, so you know what I wanted to ask you real quick before we get into everything. I heard something earlier that was saying that they're going to be in uniforms. So does that mean they're going to be in the game uniforms, or are they only going to be in the practice uniforms?
Oh, I don't know. I missed that one. I know they said they're going to be in pads, but I didn't know the distinction between what we're going to look like on Sundays or what we're looking like in training camp. That's interesting.
Because actually it was in the Sam Howell interview that he did with the media, and they were asking him, you know, was he excited to come to FedEx Field, and you know, first time he gets to be in uniform. So that confused me a little bit.
Okay, maybe that might be something. This is my first time hearing it.
Yeah, I you know, I don't think I think they, you know, reworded that question a little weird, and I don't expect them to, because I would think that they would want to debut those, you know, preseason on the big stage, but hey, who knows?
Yeah.
So you know, training camp's been pretty, you know, for the most part, training camp. We know for me at least, you know, mostly I just want to come out of this training camp injury free. You know, that's ultimately the goal that, you know, I've been stressing in all of my videos. It's pretty much like, you know, it's camp, it's practice. These guys are learning. You know, guys are going to make mistakes. You know, defense is going to have good days. Also, you know, the offense is going to have good days.
What's going on, man? What's good?
Hey, we had some technical difficulties over here, man. As soon as I pushed the line, oh man, sorry about that. Rookie mistakes, man. Rookie mistakes. Listen, but you know, it's been reported basically that you know, Carson, the main media is reporting that Carson, you know, they dog him. They're reporting he's, you know, looking like trash in practice. But, you know, as we know, we're the people that cover this team. You know, the defense is having days, and then also the offense is having days. So how thus far, looking back at how you looked at it when we first acquired Carson Wentz, and now we're in training camp, he's practicing in the burgundy and gold. What are your thoughts on the reports coming out of training camp about him? And also, are you, you know, more sold on the fact that Carson Wentz is in DC?
I mean, it's definitely grown on me over time. I'm still like, draft your quarterback because I want to pay my quarterback a rookie contract, because, you know, most of these teams that go to the Super Bowl or win it, other than the Rams who just went all in, all eggs in one basket, spend all of the money. Usually it's a rookie quarterback with a really good team around them, because you have the money to pay the rest of the team with your quarterback, the most important position in football, making minimal money. I mean, literally like the equivalent of minimum wage in the NFL. So that's my preferred strategy. But this Carson Wentz thing is a nice plan B. I'm excited to see how it goes. And so far in training camp, it's been ups and downs, kind of what you expected. I am a little bit more optimistic, though, because it seems like he's hitting Jahan pretty well. And it's like every day he gets better. It was like a really bad day a few days ago, but generally every day becomes more accurate. And also I'm noticing him throwing the ball out of bounds, which is something I was worried about when we got him. Like, is he going to force the issue and throw unnecessary interceptions when he should just take the sack or throw the ball out of bounds? And I saw him throwing the ball to running backs more often. So you can tell that Scott Turner is like really communicating with them. Just take the layup. Just, if it's not there, don't force it. So he started the past 2 practices, he's been throwing it to Gibson, Brian Robinson, and J.D. McKissick. And it's not even like forced. It's not like a play design. It's like, look at first read, not there. Second read, not there. Running back. And that's just not something he's typically done.
Right. Yeah, I'll add to that. You know, for me, because once we acquired him, like, honestly, I didn't have like a per se. It was shocking in a sense. It almost was kind of how I got the same feeling when we drafted Jahan Dotson. It was like, I don't hate it, but right now let me just digest it and see how I feel. But you know, my biggest concern was something that you brought up, and it was the fact of him actually utilizing his checkdowns. Because as we know, the guy idolizes Brett Favre, who is an absolute gunslinger. And, for me, I want to see some exciting offense in DC. I really do. I want to put some points on the board. I want to take some chances. But with the same token, I felt like what would aid Carson Wentz in DC was the fact that we do have explosive weapons out of the backfield that can expand this offense in the pass game. So, you bringing up that point of him looking for the running backs in the last couple of days of training camp and adding them in the mix is definitely a good look for me. And I want to see him continue to do that as we get in the season. Also, I got a comment here. Corey Lott, what's up, fella? What's going on, man? You already know your boys in the building. Salute. Appreciate you coming to check out the live stream. So next, I got to talk about it, man. And it's making me feel some type of way because this is my boy. I rocked with him. Antonio Gibson, man. And I almost said out my mouth just now, Antonio Fumble Gibson, because I know we're just in training camp, but you hate to see it. Put it on the field, on the ground 2 times. Is this like what level of concern are you with Antonio Gibson right now? And do you think that Brian Robinson is starting to close the gap in the eyes of the coaching, if you had to guess right now?
Well, first of all, it's like a mix of worried but not too worried because it's still early. But at the same time, 2 fumbles, and it's not even like the same fumble. It was 2 different types. It was a failed exchange between him and Carson Wentz. And then another one, he just got popped by Casey Toohill and dropped it. And we just literally cannot have that. I don't care what the excuse is. So I am definitely worried because it was 2 fumbles in the same drill. So, I mean, usually the argument for Antonio Gibson fumbling last year was he's tired, he's worn down, he's beat up, it's been so many carries. But this is like a practice where they're only practicing for like a little bit. It's only been like a few minutes since they've been doing that drill. So there's no way he's like severely fatigued or beat up or really hurt or anything. So those are just straight up fumbles. So that's the worrying part. But again, it is still early. And then to Brian Robinson, I mean, Ron Rivera has shown that he will bench Antonio Gibson if he's fumbled. I mean, you can see that they're not even that high on Jared Patterson, and they would bench Antonio Gibson last year for Jared Patterson when Antonio Gibson was fumbling. So I think if Brian Robinson can become a better pass protector, it's going to look really ugly for Antonio Gibson, especially if he continues to fumble, because Brian Robinson's looking good. I've heard that his route running looks clean. I've seen some clips of him catching the ball. It looks like a receiver. He's catching it with his hands instead of his body or like his forearm and the chest or whatever. And then we already know what he does running the ball wise. So, hey, man, Antonio Gibson, you got to step up because it's going to get real ugly soon.
Yeah. Ron Rivera, he's one of those old school guys, too. You put that ball on the ground, he will yank you with the quickness. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, Gibby's still my boy. I love Antonio Gibson, but, the reality is, especially with some of the situational fumbling like last year, he can't say nothing about fatigue in the first game of the season when we're playing the Chargers and you putting it on the ground, in our own red zone. So, yeah, that definitely is something that is a cause for concern. I'm not going to panic right now, but I had to bring that up and just see, what you thought about that whole situation. So next, I want to ask you, and some of the stuff I'm starting to ask you right now is just like recent things that's been going on, but I don't know if you listened to Jahan Dotson's Mic'd Up.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, sure. So I've been pondering over the last couple of weeks the conversation of Jahan Dotson returning punts. And I did a video actually talking about why it's not crazy to think Jahan Dotson could possibly win Rookie of the Year. And in that video, I brought up a guy that won Rookie of the Year in Percy Harvin. And he only had like 700 and something receiving yards. But where I was comparing the two was the ability to return punts and kickoff returns. So I heard Jahan in that video say that he, I don't know in what manner was it, the number one guy on the special teams or what, but he was saying that he's on punt return. So do you want to see him? How would you like them to divvy up that opportunity for him? Would you want to see him take on that, all season, or would you want it to be a situational type of thing with Jahan Dotson back there at punt return?
Yeah, first of all, great point with the comparison to Percy Harvin. Definitely got to give you huge props for that. And for me, I would like it if it's situational because I think he's going to be a really good receiver, especially I'm still not depending on Curtis Samuel yet. So to me right now, Jahan Dawson's obviously a wide receiver too. And I think his name is Bram Weinstein, the voice of the Commanders and things. He actually had really harsh criticism of the Commanders. He said like offensive line worries him, Carson Wentz's inaccuracy worries him. But one thing that he said was that Jahan Dotson looks like another number one receiver. It's not like Terry McLaurin 1 and Jahan Dotson 2. It's probably 1A, 1B type of thing. He's that good. And that's coming from somebody that's pretty critical of the Washington Commanders. And so I think I don't want to put him out there all of the time, but say we really need a special teams play. It's like fourth quarter. We just need to flip field positioning real quick. Go ahead and throw Jahan Dotson back there, kind of like how the Chiefs maybe Tyreek Hill's not always the punt returner, but when you really need a play, you throw him back there. I would be willing to do something like that because, I mean, Jahan Dotson isn't as fast as Terry McLaurin 40 time and straight line speed, but if we're talking about agility, it's probably Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, and maybe J.D. McKissick, our most agile guys on the team, especially on offense.
Yeah, most definitely. Want to say what's up to Coach Aaron real quick. My guys, what's good, everybody? What's going on, man? Salute to you. Appreciate you checking out the video. I got blessed, and I was able to bring my man Rico on here to chop it up with us over here at Command Respect TV. So, on to the next question. So as we've watched, and I know for me, I've been a little confused, but at the same token, I'm trying to trust this coaching staff because what I stress always is, I feel like Ron Rivera, regardless we may not agree with some of his decisions, he hasn't lied to us once. And surrounding the linebacker position, I mean, we got two guys now. One guy retired. I don't know another offseason where I've seen just two guys just retire like this. Do you know another offseason where this happened?
It's weird. Two current players retire. One, ex-player comes back to retire. It's really weird. But it's also really interesting too because Trey Walker apparently unretired today.
Oh,
so we'll
did
see
he?
how that goes. Yeah,
Wow.
I saw that this morning. I don't know what to think about that because it's like, are you really into it? Like, do you really want to do this?
Yeah.
You play one of the most difficult positions in football as far as contact goes and head injuries and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're looking at him a little differently now that he retired and came back. But yeah, I mean, to your point, linebacker depth is ugly, and this is a really weird offseason.
Man, and it's two young guys too. That's the confusing part. It's not like it's an aging vet that's like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. These are two young guys that retired. Definitely a weird situation. But yeah, the linebacker position. So there was some smoke, I don't know how much validity it was to it, but there was talk about Anthony Barr possibly in communication with the Commanders. As we know, he's now with the Cowboys. I know for me, I was on the team of just bring Landon Collins back and hope that he would just accept the role given by the team. You could be called whatever you want to be called. If you want to be called the mailman, you want to be called the quarterback, whatever you want to be called, you could be called that. But just know that you're going to be in that box. You know what I'm saying? So, But Drew White goes down with an ACL. Unfortunately, we're getting reports that David Mayo is taking snaps over Jamin Davis. I almost lost his name. I'm losing his name because we barely see him. Yeah. So David Mayo is getting snaps over Jamin Davis. And Ron is just bullheadish on this thing of like, we're just, looking at the young guys and, we really like what we have. Where do you think because they're bringing in corners, but they're not bringing in linebackers to replace linebacker depth. So where do you think this possible situation can go long term?
I don't know. Ideally, because Jamin Davis actually had a really good practice Friday, like one of his best practices since he's been here on the team.
Right.
So maybe that was enough to like, okay, maybe we can start playing him with the first team more so with David Mayo. But yeah, the concerns are real. The fact that David Mayo's getting them a lot of the first team snaps, and even yesterday he got the majority of them because we were doing like red zone goal line drills. But ideally, I mean, Jamin Davis should be able to be on the field all the time. He should be able to basically be on there for 100% of the snaps like Cole Holcomb, but so far he can't. But again, he had a really good practice yesterday. Like the first time he really like shined. He was covering people, forcing incompletions. One time he forced Carson Wentz to look his way and then not throw it. And then he made a couple of run stops as well. So hopefully that's enough. But I don't know what we're doing with the linebacker position because Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis, cool, that's solid. But we're one injury away from David Mayo being a full-time starter. And right now, I mean, even with everybody healthy, David Mayo looks like he's going to get a considerable amount of snaps.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard much from Khaleke Hudson. I don't know if he's doing well or bad. I haven't really heard his name. And then everybody else behind that, who knows?
Yeah, it's a real weird situation. And I've been trying to tell myself that they're trying to wait into pretty much the end of preseason where some of these vets on other teams start to get let go due to contract situations. You know, maybe some teams have young guys on their roster that they figure, hey, this is cheaper labor, so we can go ahead and let this guy walk. And possibly we can walk into a situation where we get a guy that we might not, we're not supposed to get, but somehow he ends up here in Washington because, I mean, for me personally, there's a lot of questions there and I don't see a lot of answers. I mean, I don't even know who half of these guys are that are running around that he's supposed to be talking about are good depth pieces in the linebacker position. So who knows, man? So now let's talk about this cornerback position. In the fan base, from my observation, I've seen it two different ways when people discuss our cornerbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the NFL views Kendall Fuller as a top corner. And we got William Jackson who's coming back second year. We're expecting to see him step up huge this year. And then we have Benjamin St-Juste, who also, he had his injury situations with the concussions last year. But when he was on the field, he was promising, breaking up passes and also making a lot of good key tackles as well. So it seems that they're going to be playing Benjamin St-Juste in the slot position, and then Kendall Fuller, and then, of course, William Jackson on the outsides. Now, me personally, I've been stressing that I like St-Juste on the outside. That's just how I would like to see it. But now I've come to the point where I think what they're trying to go for is just having their best three guys on the field at all time. And I think that may be the direction that they're going. But with that being said, what are your what would you be okay with performance wise of this unit this year? How do you view Kendall Fuller? And then what do you expect from in order for you to be like, okay, William Jackson III is worth this money that we're giving, and what would you have to see from them this year?
Bet. So, well, ideally, it's a weird situation because like our three best corners are all outside corners. I mean, Benjamin St-Juste has looked really good in the slot, but just like you, I prefer him outside. But if you want to have your three best corners on the field at any given point in time, Benjamin St-Juste is out there in the slot. But again, he's been holding it down so far in camp. He's been our most consistent corner. I mean, you could argue it's been between him and Kendall Fuller. But William Jackson wise, I think the first half of last year was just him really struggling to learn how to not only work in the defense, but Jack Del Rio was struggling to learn how to use them. And then they finally got on some type of the same page second half of the season. And William Jackson III was basically locking down like a third of the field. He barely got thrown towards that second half of the season. Right. And so I'm hoping that continues. And then Kendall Fuller wise, I mean, I don't know why Pro Football Focus has him graded as like the second best corner in football, and then you have national media guys saying that he's a top corner. To me, he's a top tier second corner, but I don't have him even in the top 10 of NFL corners for sure. But I'm really happy to have him. For him to be our second corner, I think that is a really good, solid group. Again, William Jackson is going to be the better corner when he gets everything down mentally. It's kind of crazy because William Jackson has all of the athleticism and length. Kendall Fuller has all of the mental stuff.
Yeah.
You just put them in the one corner, they probably would be a top 3 corner in the NFL. Right. But Kendall Fuller he's just too slow, so he gets beat deep and things like that. But outside of that, that's a really good core to me. And Benjamin St. Juste, I mean, really, he's been the only one consistently giving guys like Jahan Dotson problems in the offseason so far. So I think he's going to do a really good job. I felt like he did a pretty decent job against, what was that, Devontae Adams in the Packers game?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
A few times that Devontae Adams got him. I mean, and that was like only his 5th, 6th game in the NFL as a 3rd-round pick, going against arguably the best receiver in football with one of the best quarterbacks throwing it to him. It's not even just because of the receiver you're going against. The quarterback throwing to that receiver matters as well, and that was arguably the best duo last year. So, I mean, the fact that he held his own against that, he's holding his own against Jahan Dotson, who even Kendall Fuller and William Jackson are struggling to cover. I have very high hopes for him as long as he can stay away from the concussion injuries. And I'm really excited about the group. I'm hearing that, I remember Danny Johnson last year held it down in the slot with Benjamin St. Juste gone. He played really well during that 4-game win streak that we had. Danny Johnson stepped up big for us, and he's probably our 4th or 5th best corner. So the original worries I had coming into camp, a lot of it's been erased, especially since Kendall Fuller's been balling. Like, you can argue it's been like Kendall Fuller, Montez Sweat, Derek Forrest, and Cole Turner, and maybe a couple of other guys have been like the most impressive guys at camp so far.
Yeah, definitely good point you made up. Like you said, man, it's been all good reports out of camp surrounding the cornerbacks. So that, you love to hear that. I wish we could have Chase at full strength to be able to really see the difference in this year with the guys getting to the quarterback and the corners back there making plays and holding their assignments. So even I want to give a shout out to Bobby McCain, man. Like, even Bobby, like that whole back seven, like even Bobby McCain, from what I've heard, he's been basically stepping up as a leader this year. He's been flying around. And like he said in one of his pressers, like, if one of these guys got questions, they can come to me. He's played multiple positions on the defense. So I like to hear it, but I'm still scarred just because of last season and, some of the preseason stuff and all the hypes around in the defense. So they got to show me. That's where I'm at with it. Definitely got to show me. So now let's go ahead and talk about this is something that I personally, matter of fact, I think I've discussed this with you before, but so let's just look into the future real quick, right? And let's say, we make the playoffs, or we just don't get in the playoffs, but the defense was underwhelming, right? And we didn't see the necessary jump that we would like to see from Jack Del Rio making adjustments with this defense. Would you like to see Jack Del Rio pack his bags and Chris Harris, the DB coach, step into that defensive coordinator position? And do you think that Ron, being old school, would even entertain the thought or the idea of that situation?
Well, I mean, obviously, Jack Del Rio's on an extremely short leash for me, on and off the field. And it was too much talent for us not to produce this year. It's the easiest schedule you can probably get. Probably going to be the easiest schedule we have for many years to come. So if our defense can't produce this year, when will they? Under Jack Del Rio specifically. And then on top of that, Chris Harris has been getting coaching defensive coordinator interviews around the league, even from the Eagles. And I don't want this to be another Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, or Kyle Shanahan, all these guys, Matt LaFleur. I don't want this to be another one of those situations where we let a young, rising, coordinator, coach, whatever, leave and go somewhere else and become great. We need to keep these guys in house. And again, Chris Harris has been getting a lot of noise, receiving a lot of noise, getting interviews last off season. And I love the way he interacts with the players. He's one of the biggest trash talkers out there. So I love his energy. I love how much he was in that Jahan Dotson video you're talking about. He was literally personally walked up to Jahan Dotson, talked a little bit of trash before the practice started. And it just definitely seems like he's more of like in the locker room than even a Jack Del Rio is. So if Jack Del Rio's not producing, I don't know what advantage you have in having him here, because at the very least, I'm pretty sure Chris Harris is liked far more by the players than Jack Del Rio is.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's my thing. Like, in a sense, especially with this generation, you got to be relatable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, coaches like the Chris Harrises and the Sean McVays and those type of guys that, they run down the sideline with their guys and they really, genuinely show emotion to when their guys are making plays and stuff like that. It does something different, to a roster or a group of players. And, specifically the defense, like, those guys, they need to be technically sound, but also they feed off of energy. You know what I'm saying? And I think Chris Harris, like you said, he's a young, upcoming, rising defensive mind, and I don't want to see him walk out the door like we've seen with so many coaches here in Washington that we just missed out on. So I'm hoping that, even though Ron's an old school coach, I'm hoping that he identifies that if we don't get what we like this year from Jack Del Rio. Let me read this comment real quick. Lex Park, thanks for the comment, man. He said this roster, this is the best roster Washington has have had since 1992 when they won the Super Bowl. I agree. Like, honestly, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, that's one thing I got to give credit to Ron Rivera. He came in here, man, and we were working with a skeleton crew. And he really turned this roster around to where now you look at it and you like, other than the linebacker position for me, you look at it and you're like, wow, how did he do this in just 3 years? So definitely think that's a valid comment right there. Anything you want to say to that, Rico?
I mean, just to add to that, remember that 1991 team, arguably the best team in NFL history. Like, if you look at the statistics and the margins that we were beating people by, offense, defense, special teams, everything. And it's not even just us as Commander fans. If you literally just look up best teams in NFL history and make sure you include that 1991 Redskins there so that you can make sure the results include that, you're going to get a lot of articles with us at the very least in the top 3. Yeah. And some of them we're number 1. I actually saved those articles when I saw it because I was really happy to know that other people felt the same way. Like, neutral members, guys that aren't even a fan of the Burgundy and Gold. So, man, that team was historic, and I agree. We got to see what they can do on the field, but like on paper, it's definitely one of the best rosters top to bottom we've had in a very long time. Again, a little worried about the linebacker group, but other than that, as long as Carson Wentz is doing his thing, he has all of the talent in the world. There's no excuses. So let's go out there and win, go at least to the playoffs. I think playoffs should be a good expectation this year.
Yep. So that actually leads into the next comment. Corey Lott back again. He said, what is everyone's expectations for the Commanders this upcoming season? I'll start. For me, it's playoff or bust. I honestly feel that way. Ron Rivera, like I said, he's a very bullheaded person. He wanted to bring Carson Wentz in. He said he felt that we were a quarterback away. This roster is shaped in his vision. And I think that, like Rico just said, there's too much talent on this defense. We just re-signed Terry McLaurin. We got him a running mate in Jahan Dotson to the point where Curtis Samuel being hurt he's just a bonus at this point, which I'm happy to say that, he's just a bonus. So for me, it's playoff or bust.
Same here. I just feel like even ignoring the talent on the team, because I completely agree with that. There's too much talent not to, especially in a weak NFC. But even just based off of what we did last year, we won 7 games with Taylor Heineke as your starting quarterback. We had one of the worst injury and COVID situations in the NFL. We had statistically the toughest schedule in the NFL. And again, we won 7 games last year. So at the and we were like the 6th seed until COVID hit us, and even Taylor Heineke had to miss a game. We was playing with Garrett Gilbert and guys like that. Up until that point, we were the 6th seed, even over the Eagles at one point.
Right.
And so it's just like there's literally no excuse this year. If we can do what we did last year with all of the terrible factors that were going against us, with everything going for us this year, there's no reason that we can't with the upgrades that we made. And again, a way easier schedule. I mean, even just quarterbacks alone, the schedule is way easier. We lost some of those games last year just because of quarterback. And even I think one thing people also forget is kicker. We lost a couple of games because of kicker. And now we finally have a guy that we can expect to make the 30-yarders and the 50-yarders.
Yeah, you definitely right on that. I mean, it was sad, man. I mean, who was that guy that was here? Blewett. I mean, when they seen his name, they should have knew. Like, come on now, Blewett. You're gonna bring a guy named Blewett in here? He was kicking the back of lineman with the ball. Yeah. I mean, he couldn't get no height on that thing. I think me or you could have got out there and put one through the uprights before him. That was crazy, absolutely crazy. Coach Aaron says, barring the roster getting destroyed by injuries, anything under 10 wins with this schedule is unacceptable. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. As we know, it is the NFL and things happen, unfortunately. That's why I always preach health. Hopefully, we can stay healthy and be able to man pretty much a solid roster with the main guys. But with that being said, that's why it's key to have good depth at positions, because unfortunately, you hate to see it, but it's going to happen. Guys are going to have to step up. You know what I'm saying? When things happen or guys are banged up, that's why it was important to bring in a Brian Robinson. That's why, it was also important to even when we bring in Carson Wentz, and to have Taylor Heineke as our backup, because I believe he is a capable backup. And then we got a young quarterback in the wings, in the waiting. Hopefully we never have to see him, but we shall see. Sam Howell. And then now, looking at the receiver position, is solid, man. We got some solid depth here, the O-line. So this is an exciting season. I think you're definitely hitting on the head with that. 10 wins with this schedule. Anything under 10 wins with this schedule is unacceptable for me.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Okay, Corey Lott. Honestly, the way that we're built this year, I'm expecting 10 plus wins this year. I think pretty much everybody's on the same accord. I haven't jumped out the window at all. I said nothing crazy. I did my own win and loss prediction video on my channel, and I think I fell somewhere in between 10 and 11 wins, somewhere in there. So I think that's pretty. I think that will do it for us. And like what Rico just said, with this NFC conference as a whole, I mean, I don't see a lot there that should be challenging us for a playoff slot. So I definitely think we should be able to do that this year. So next, what I want to discuss is the defensive line. Let's talk about them a little bit. That's always one of the mainstays here. I'm under the impression that F.A. Obata is going to be the guy getting most of the snaps in place of Chase Young going into the season. But now, after listening to Ron Rivera talking one of his pressers when they were talking about James Smith-Williams and a couple of those other guys, who do you see pretty much solidifying that end position until Chase Young comes back?
Hey, man, I'm right with you. I thought it was going to be F.A. Obata. He was the veteran signing. Everybody else is like the younger guys that we drafted a couple of years ago and things like that. So going into camp, right with you, I just assumed it was going to be F.A. Obata. I didn't even really think about it too much. But now, Ron Rivera's press conference, like you mentioned, and even in practices, James Smith-Williams was the starter until he got hurt. And then now Casey Toohill has been the starter with James Smith-Williams gone, and Casey Toohill was playing really well. He was one of those Antonio Gibson fumbles from yesterday, and he also had a tackle for loss in that same practice against Antonio Gibson where Gibson didn't fumble. But he's been making the most of his opportunities. So it sounds like F.A. Obata is behind James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill right now.
Yeah, like I said, we were on the same accord, because like when we signed him, I was excited about that signing. I
Yeah.
see a lot of upside there, even with him, not being a rookie or anything. But essentially, he's still, like Ron said, learning the game. And if this guy's still learning the game, and some of the plays I see him made and his quickness off the edge, sometimes I thought that was just going to be a locked in thing until Chase Young come back. But we shall see how it goes. I guess they possibly most likely will be rotating those guys in and out anyway, just to keep fresh legs. So I'm hoping that we see a lot of F.A. Obata. I think that guy has a tremendous motor, and he loves to get to the quarterback. So also, let's do another relook at a situation that I don't remember how you felt about for Darian Matthews when we first drafted him, but me personally, um, I love the guy, and I didn't think when everybody was talking about, I get the whole, we do all this homework, pre-draft, and we got these guys that we have slotted in certain, positions and where they should go and where they shouldn't go, and this was a reach and that wasn't a reach. But for me, I've always been of the ilk of go get your guy when you want to go get your guy within reason. You can't just go and jump and get, a kicker in the second round. But you know what I'm saying? But if you see a guy that's going to address the need that, for your team and in your system, then I'm a firm believer in going to get your guy. But I honestly think that for me, for Darian Matthews is going to have a bigger impact than a lot of people may think. And now looking back on when they made the selection, like I said, I don't know how you felt about it, so you can elaborate on it. But looking back and now where we're at, how are you feeling about having for Darian Matthews on this team, and also maybe a little bit of, are you still like, if you were like that about where we selected him?
Well, I mean, first of all, even to your point about not taking a kicker in the second round, but like going to get your guy. Remember, we traded up to the 5th round to get Cameron Cheeseman, and everybody was upset and everything. And he almost made the Pro Bowl last year at long snapper. And it doesn't matter what position it is. If you almost make the Pro Bowl as a 5th round pick, I'll take it. So that was actually kind of funny. That really proves your point. I just didn't love Darian Matthews that much. I mean, as a Georgia Bulldog fan, I was never really worried about him like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially looking back and what we need him to do, and basically he's going to be the guy that eats up double teams that allows Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, and even the linebackers to stay clean to where they can make the plays. He's going to be the unselfish guy, because I love Tim Settle, love Matt Ioannidis, wish they were here. But those guys were more selfish last year. Even in run plays, their primary thing wasn't doing run fits. They were trying to penetrate to get their stats up so that they can get a bigger contract, make more money, things like that. But Darian Matthews is going to be that one solid rock that's going to be completely selfless, and everybody else is going to be able to make plays around them. So I think the defensive line, it's never been a problem of talent. It's been a problem of one, coaching and chemistry and everybody doing their part. And I think for Darian Matthews is going to be that one guy that completely does his exact role, and is going to allow everybody else to do what they want to do / do whatever their responsibilities are. And so and another angle on it, if you look, first of all, this division is run heavy, but this schedule is also very run heavy, where we got to play the Titans, we got to play the Eagles twice, gonna have to play the Cowboys. It's a lot of very good run heavy teams. And one thing about Darian Matthews, he's going to stop the run. We'll see about his pass rush upside, hopefully sooner rather than later. But one thing about it, you're bringing him in to hopefully make Jamin Davis better by keeping him cleaner. It's going to allow Chase Young and Montez Sweat to have the seasons that we're hoping that they have, because he's also going to keep those guys clean. They should see more single blocking on the outside. And most importantly, this schedule just specifically is very run heavy, and he's like a direct counter to that. I wouldn't be surprised if when we got our schedule, they looked at it and was like, oh yeah, we're going to need somebody to really hold down that run with the guys we got to play against. So let's go get our guy for Darian Matthews.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I've done some, I revisit, because like I said, I liked it when they did it, but I also wanted to go back and definitely look at some of his tape. And what I think a lot of people don't really, and I know you're a college guy, so you've seen tape on him, and his impact on games and stuff like that. But the guy has good hands from what I've
Yeah.
seen. He has long arms and he has good hands. He might not have the quickest feet, but I've seen him absolutely dominate some guards, and especially in the run game, like you said, getting around guards, using those swim moves, using his arms, using his hands. He has some pretty quick hands, and I think that he was perfect for, like you said, what we needed here in Washington to free up some of these other guys so that they can get off. And that leads me to the point of Montez Sweat actually talked about in his presser about, like, he's not so much focused on the individual accolades this year. He wants to win, and he wants the team as a whole to be good. So you like to hear these guys talking like that, man. It got me really excited.
Thank
And
goodness.
you bringing unselfish guys on this team to help out, and guys that are seasoned. These guys played college football at a high level.
Yeah.
They were pretty, seniors and stuff like that. So you see the direction that this team went. Now, last person I want to talk about on the defensive line, this was a nugget that I caught, and I don't know if a lot of people caught this one, and I've been trying to get it across, but I don't think anybody's really grasping it like I'm grasping it. Maybe I'm missing something here.
Mm-hmm.
The John Allen, the Pro Bowler, one of our captains, Warren Sapp came to camp, as you know, mini camp OTA/OTAs, and he worked with the defensive line. Now, he went on the Rich Eisen show, and he talked more about what he was doing in Washington and, how much he loves the 2D tackles and, how he was pretty much drooling over those two guys, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. And it was a nugget in there that he said I caught, and I was like, okay, this is different. So if we take a look at last season with the defensive line, one of the frustrating things from Jack Del Rio was, and the defensive line coach, was they didn't switch anything up other than Montez Sweat go to one side, Chase Young go to one side, and y'all switch. Outside of that, there was no stunts. There was no, mixing anything up or overlap, loading this side or putting this person outside, even though he should be. There was none of that. But Warren Sapp said to Rich Eisen that they're going to have Jonathan Allen lining up on the edge this year and rushing. I don't know. Like I said, you got to go check that. I actually have that clip on my page as one of my shorts where he actually says it. But that makes me a little excited, man, to hear that supposedly they're going to be switching things up on the defensive line this year, and they're going to really unleash Jonathan Allen and allow him to also rush off the edge this year. What do you think about that?
Hey, man. I mean, first of all, with Chase Young injured, I wouldn't hate to see it at all. And not even specifically just Jonathan Allen, but the reason I love to hear that is just like, to your point, Jack Del Rio is not creative. We thought when we got him, we were going to see linebacker blitzes, all kinds of crazy coverages. And so far, we mostly just play like a very simple zone. Defensive linemen, no stunts, just 4 of them, occasionally 5, which I do like. I like when we run the 5 defensive linemen, but we don't do it often. Yeah. And it's been very simple. It's been very predictable. He's pretty much just relying on our talent to make plays. He's not really scheming guys to in winning situations. So I love the fact that it sounds like that we may get somewhat creative this year. Please, thank goodness.
Right, because if we look at that beast over there in LA and Aaron Donald, they don't just put him in the middle and just say that's what you're doing and just go. When you have a guy of elite caliber player, like you say, you scheme them open. You scheme them to be able to take advantage of these fronts and these offenses. And over there in LA, teams key in on Aaron Donald. So what do? They put Aaron Donald in certain situations and switch him up in different spots so he's able to make an impact on the game. So I would like to see us doing some of that. I mean, I know we got a lot of first round picks up there, but that don't mean nothing. I mean, still, you got to do your part as a coach. And regardless of the natural talent, you still want to put your mix in it. And like you said, add a little twist in there and have these guys be able to make impacts on the game. So like I said, I would love to actually see this come to fruition. Like I said, Warren Sapp mentioned it, and I was like, this is a nugget right here. And so
Yeah, that's a
hopefully
great
maybe they're hiding that right now, and they're gonna unleash that week 1 or whenever we're going to see it. But I definitely would love to see it. Got a comment here real quick, Corey Lott. I love the fact that we drafted Mathis, but I hope they find a way to re-sign Payne. For me, I would love if they bring Payne back, but honestly, I don't see it happening. And I think, but the thing is, regardless of what happens with Payne this year, this is a business at the end of the day. So this is an audition year for Payne for any franchise that he's going to play. You hear these guys talk about how this is a business. John Allen says it all the time. All these guys say it. At the end of the day, regardless of what jersey you wear, is a business. So you're going to want to perform. And being that he's going to want to get a lucrative deal from whether it's from us or another team, the guy has a chip on his shoulder. And I think that we might see a different level of Darian Payne this year. What do you think about that, Rico?
Oh no, I'm right with you. I think he's going to absolutely ball out because, like you said, at the very least, even if he's not playing for his next contract here, he's playing for his next contract somewhere. And so that I am worried about. You know, maybe it gets to a point where he's like, all right, I'm looking out for myself so I can get this money, and then that's where for Darian Matthews is gonna have to be even more selfless to make up for Darian Payne basically being all about him at some point. But I think, honestly, he's going to have a great year this season. And I hope we keep him. But yeah, logistically, I just don't see how it's gonna. I don't see how it's gonna add up. We still have to pay Cole Holcomb and guys like Cameron Curl and William Jackson, Curtis Samuel. If we end up keeping them, all of those guys are all coming up within the next 2 years. So we'll see. I hope we can keep them, but it's looking real ugly.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. And like you said, you brought up a good point. That's why I like talking with you, man. That's why it's good to talk to other guys that, like I said, I made this show Command Respect TV, and one of my slogans is for the fans, by the fans, because that's just I'm a fan. I'm just passionate about it, and I like talking Washington football. You know what I'm saying? And so you bring a different point of view that I may not have looked at, and also I hope that I'm able to do the same thing. And like you said,
I didn't hear that Jonathan Allen thing. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I got the short on my page. If you want to check it out, just click on it. It's like maybe a 2-minute video or something like that.
Sure.
I'm not even gonna act like I know how to say this name, and I feel really bad. ZY no for real. That's how I'm interpreting it right now. 2 goats in one stream. Hey, listen, that's the goat right there. That guy, this guy right here, he's the goat. He's the Billy goat. Me, I'm just a baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a guy trying to figure this thing out and hopefully be able to give you guys some solid material and content and just try to build this channel over here.
I mean, it feel like you've been doing it forever, man. Real smooth, man.
Oh no. We know it, man. As soon as I hit the live button, my whole monitors and everything just turned completely off.
They folded under pressure. They weren't ready for the limelight.
Yeah. My lights, everything. I'm just sitting here in an absolute blackout. Like, what just happened? And that's when I texted you and I was like, man, listen. And then the live video was still going, of course. So
yeah.
That's my debut. That's my debut right there. All right, Coach Aaron, be sure to smash that like button. I definitely appreciate that, man. Definitely smash the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, anybody about the channel. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of different stuff here right now. I'm just getting started up, but I also am going to be doing live call-in shows. Of course, bringing some of the GOATs on the channel to talk Washington football. And then a special thing I'm doing this season, and I guess I'll just let you guys know now. Every week we play a team this year, I'm going to be bringing on a podcaster from that team that we're playing. And we're going to do like a battle and talk about so we can get to know our opponents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that on this channel this year. I already got the Jacksonville game wrapped up, and I also got the Detroit Lions one wrapped up. So working on that. That's going to be something to look forward to. So we're almost at an hour. I don't want to hold you up too much. I know you got, your stuff that you got to pump out on your channel as well. As we know, that's the Real GOAT channel over there.
Appreciate it, man. I'm just telling.
Yeah. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on the channel, blessing me with my first live video. Hopefully we can do plenty more. Everybody in the stream, I'm pretty sure you already subscribed to him, but I gotta say it, if you're not, I don't know what you're doing. You need to right now. Don't wait. Go check him out. Much love from Command Respect TV. So with that being said, I appreciate you, Rico. I'm gonna go ahead and head out. We'll do this again soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for checking out this video. Peace.